Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see the second type of connection for the beam to column, and that is the unstiffened static type of connection. So let's start. In the previous video, we have seen the first type of connection that can be provided for the beam to column, and that was the frame connection. Now the second type of connection which can be used between the beam and column, that is known as the seated connection. Now this seated connection, as it is obvious from the name itself, that we are providing some kind of arrangement for the seating. That means the connection which will be provided between the beam and column, it will be consisting of a beam seat. This member which is provided between beam and column, that is known as a beam seat. Now what is the purpose of this, and why do we provide this type of connection, and why are we deviating from the framed connection? So the purpose of moving on to this seated connection is that when the depth of this web, this is the web section for the beam, so when this depth is insufficient, or the width of the flange of the column, that is insufficient to carry any angle section which was provided in the framed connection, in that case it is necessary to provide the angle at other locations. And when we provide the angle to support the beam or the column at other location than the web of the beam, then that type of connection is known as the seated connection. Now obviously when we are providing this seat, that means this angle is provided below this beam. This is the beam part, and this I section, this is the column. So when we are providing the seat below this beam, it obviously has an advantage in the erection process, because earlier what we need to do, we were providing the supporting bolts below this beam, but now there is no need for the support, because this seat angle will also take care of the erection process. So that is the one advantage in the seated connection, that it helps in the erection process for the beam to column connection. So the prime advantage is this, that is not the what we are looking for. Now the seat angle also provides a surface on which this beam can be easily placed. That means this seated connection also provides a surface on which beam flange may rest during the erection process. So that is the second advantage of this seated connection. Now what is the purpose of this, and what is the use of this? So purpose is that it can provide the surface on which the beam flange may rest, and that's why this eliminates the need for the erection bolts. The bolts that were provided for the connection between the beam and the column, and so that this beam may not rotate about its axis, so that's why we were providing the erection bolt to keep the beam stable. Now that need for the erection bolt has been eliminated by the use of the seat angles. Now the seated connection can further be of two types. One is your unstiffened seated connection, and other one is the stiffened seated connection. So unstiffened and stiffened connection, as the name itself says, that in the unstiffened type, the connection will not be stiffened. That means it will not be a stiff one. That means it will be carrying lower value of the loads. So when the loads are low, that means if the load is less than the parameter which has been practically observed, that is 150 kilonewton, if the load is below this much, then the connection which will be providing, that will be of unstiffened type. While if the load is heavier in nature, then that means the load is greater than 150 kilonewton, in that cases we will be providing the stiffened type of seated connection. Now what is the difference between the two, that we'll be seeing one by one. So this unstiffened seated connection will be the major topic in the. Now this unstiffened seated type of connection will be the major topic of discussion in this lecture. So starting with the unstiffened seated connection. So as we have seen that why do we provide the seated connection, so whenever there will be insufficient depth of the web of the beam that will be available to us, in those cases we will try to provide the angle section at the below of the beam. We will try to provide the angle section below the beam and a supporting angle at the top of the flange of the beam. Now the important angle that we need to take care, that is the angle which is provided below the beam, because that is the angle that will be transferring the load. That means that type of angle which is used to transfer the load from beam to column, that angle is known as the seated angle, and that is provided below the beam in the case of seated connection. While the angle which is provided at the top of the beam flange, that angle is known as the cleat angle or the clip angle. Both the names are used interchangeably, and its purpose is to provide the lateral stability to the beam. That means the beam will not be buckling or there will not be a torsional movement of the beam. Now this is the other isometric view of the section. So as you can see, the seat angle is provided below the beam flange, while this cleat angle is provided at the web portion, because its purpose is just to support the beam. So to support the beam, it can also be provided at the web part, and when it will be provided at the web section of the beam, then that type of angle is known as the cleat angle or the web angle. So now when we are providing these unstiffened type of seated connection, the beam and column are having a gap between them. A gap has to be maintained between the beam and the column, and usually this gap that is provided between the beam and column, it is kept to be of 10 millimeter gap. And the purpose of providing this gap is to maintain the flexibility of the connection, because the type of connection that we are looking here, those fall under the category of the flexible type of connections. That means the connections which are designed only for the shear, because if this connection is rigid, in that case there will be a restraining moment which will be available here, and for the designing purposes we need to take care of that moment also. But in the case of flexible type of connection, only the shear force is present, that is the end reaction which is coming from the beam to the column. So for those forces only we will design the connection, that is our unstiffened type of seated connection. So a 10 to 15 millimeter gap has to be maintained between the column and the beam to maintain the flexibility of the connection, so that there will be only the end reaction which will be transferred from the beam to the column, and that force will be coming onto the connection as well. Now when we are providing the cleat angle or the clip angle at the top, it provides the lateral stability. That means it resists the movement of the beam in the lateral direction. So the sideways movement of the beam is restricted by the provision of these clip angles, and it may be provided on the top of the flange or at the web section. Now the outstanding leg of the seat angle, because in the designing part of the unstiffened seated connection we will be looking at the designing process for this seated angle. So outstanding leg of this seated angle is to be designed. So for designing purposes we need to check the outstanding leg as well as the connected leg, that what will be the thicknesses and what will be the length that has to be provided. So the outstanding leg is generally taken as 100 mm, so that it is sufficient to check the web crippling of the beam. And what is this web crippling that we have seen in the case of the beam sections? So whenever we are providing the I section as the beam, so under the concentrated loads, the weak part of the I section, usually that part is the joint of the flange and the web portion, it buckles locally. That means there will be a buckling in this manner, and the I section will look like this. So it will be crippled at some position, and that's why this type of phenomena is known as the web crippling of the beam or the local buckling of the beam. So to check that or to avoid that, the outstanding leg of the seated angle is kept as equal to 100 mm. Now this clip angle which is provided at the top, its provision is to just to check the lateral stability, and it will not transfer any load. That means it will not transfer any kind of load. Its purpose is to just to support the beam in the lateral direction. Now since we have provided the gap, and the provision of this gap was to maintain the flexibility, but in actual, as we have studied, the connection that we are providing, it will never be flexible ideally, and it will never be ideally rigid. So the situation that will be available to us, that will be lying somewhere in between. So when we have provided this beam to column type of connection as the seated connection, and the gap was maintained between the beam and the column, now when this connection is provided, that means it will not be resisting any movement. That means it will not be restricting the rotation of the beam or the rotation of the connection. So when this connection is rotated, that means this beam will be rotated, and when this beam is rotated, then this upper angle, that is the clip angle or the cleat angle, that will be subjected to the movement. And because of that, the bolts or the connection that we have provided at the top portion will be subjected to a certain value of movement. Now to avoid that, what we do, we provide this outstanding leg for the sufficient length, and this cleat angle that we are providing, it should be thin. The thinner the member, it will be easier to buckle along the movement. That means thinner the member, it will be easy to stretch for this cleat angle, and this cleat angle should relatively be flexible. Now when this cleat angle will be stretching, then that means the connection has been maintained, and when the connection has been maintained, there will be no eccentricity for the connection, and because of no eccentricity, the shear force will not be varying, and the section is to be designed only for the shear force, and there will be no moment that has to be taken care in this case also. And this shear which is coming onto the connection, that is coming from the end reaction of the beam. Now the thickness of the seated angle, which I am highlighting with the red color, that is dependent, the thickness of this, now the thickness of the seated angle, it is a function of the load. Now the thickness of the seated angle, it is the function of the load which is coming onto this angle section from the, and primarily it is dependent upon the bending strength of the outstanding leg, the leg which is not connected initially. So the thickness of the seated angle will be dependent on that only. And from here we will get the thickness of seated angle. The width of this section has been obtained from the width of the beam, because usually what we do, we provide the thickness. So usually what we do, we provide the width of the seated angle equal to the width of the beam flange, so that there is this symmetry maintained in the section. Now looking at the design procedure for the unstiffened type of seated connection. Now in the design procedure, as you can see that we have provided the connection between the beam and the column in this manner, and we have provided the two angles, one at the bottom of the beam flange and other at the top of the flange, and all the connection has been maintained using the bolt assembly. Now the first step in the designing process is to find out the length of the seated angle. So the length of seated angle or the seat angle is to be kept equal to the width of the beam. That means whatever is the width of this beam, usually what we do, we provide the length of the seat angle equal to that only, so that the symmetry is maintained. So the length of the seat angle, it is taken equal to the width of the beam whichever has been provided. It may be of I section, it may be of any channel section. So the type of beam that we have provided, its width will be taken equal to the length of the seat angle. So from here we will get the length for the seat angle. Now based upon this, we will choose the suitable seat angle. Now the important thing that we need to take care of in the designing purpose is to find out the length of these different legs, that is the connected leg and the outstanding leg. So once we have found out the length for this I section and thickness that we have already found out, that is based upon the design shear strength and the bending strength. Now after that, the remaining purpose is to find out the length, that is of the outstanding leg and for the connected leg respectively. Now first we will calculate the length of the outstanding leg. Now the length of the outstanding leg, as we have discussed, it is dependent upon the web crippling of the beam, and for this the seat leg length that we will be calculating from the diagram, that will be extended up to certain value. That means this B value, that is the outstanding leg, So this is the length of web bearing. So that is denoted by B. So this B will be equal to, now what we do here, we provide this length equal to R divided by TW, that is the thickness of the web that we have provided for the beam section, into the partial safety factor for the material, that is gamma m naught, which is having a value of 1.10, divided by the FYW, that is the yield stress for the web section. Now from here we will be getting the length of the outstanding leg, and where this R is the reaction of the beam, that is the end reaction which is transferred from the beam to the column. Now in the next step, what we'll do, we will find out the length of the connected leg. Now to find out the length of the connected leg, in the next step we will calculate the length of the bearing on the seat. Now for this we will take care of the help for the dispersion angle. So for this, dispersion angle is kept equal to 45 degree. Now for 45 degree angle dispersion, as we know that we will take care of the B1 value. We are calculating here this B1 value, and that will be equal to B, that is the total length of the web bearing that has been denoted here, minus this factor. Now what will be this factor? For this we will be taking care of the right angle triangle. Now in this is the angle of dispersion that has been kept as 45 degree. This is the perpendicular, so that will be a 90 degree angle. So the remaining angle is also 45 degree. So that means these two sides will be equal to each other. Now this vertical side that has been calculated, that is equal to the thickness of the flange, since this is the flange portion of the beam. So this is the thickness of the flange, while this R1 that has been shown here, that is the root radius of the beam flange, because there will be some curvature which will be provided at the bottom of the I section. So let's say this is the I section. So this R1 is the root of the section at this position. So this vertical distance will be equal to R1 plus TF. Now since these two angles are equal to each other, that's why these two sides will also be equal to each other. So from here we will get this horizontal side equal to TF plus R1. So that means the length of bearing that we will be getting, that will be equal to B minus R1 plus TF, that is the thickness of the flange plus root radius of the beam flange, and this B1 is the length of bearing on the seat. Now once we have found out the length of the outstanding leg, and for that we have designed this bearing, that is B1 and B2 values, then we will try to calculate this vertical length, that is the length of the connected leg. And this length of connected leg is designed or calculated based upon the assumption so that the minimum 2 number of bolts can be accommodated here. That means, let's say this is the one horizontal row of the bolt and this is the other horizontal row of the bolt, and in one row there may be number of bolts that can be provided, but the minimum number of rows that has to be kept for this connection is equal to 2. So by maintaining the pitch distance and the suitable edge distances, we will try to calculate this length of the connected leg. So in the next step we will try to calculate. So this length of connected leg is based upon the assumption that at least 2 horizontal rows of bolts can be accommodated here at the connection part. In the next step we will look at the load distribution diagram and the moment values. So ultimately for designing the connection part we need to take care of the moments. Since we are using the limiting equilibrium cases here, so we will again equate the moments for this section. So one will be the moment capacity of the section, while other will be the moment which is coming onto the section because of the external load. Now in the previous step, that is in the third step, we have calculated the B1 length. So this B1 length was calculated so that load is uniformly distributed over that B1 length. So this load is uniformly distributed over the B1 length of the seat angle. So therefore our uniformly distributed load, that is known as the UDL in short, so this uniformly distributed load will be equal to The total load, that was the reaction that was coming from beam to the column, that is denoted by R here, divided the length over which it has been distributed, that is the B1 value. So that is the UDL. Now the moment which is coming onto the section, so moment at the section, and the critical section is taken for the angle section, as we have seen in the diagram previously. This length is taken equal at the root of the fillet. So this was the bearing where we calculated the B1 length. So at the root of the fillet, this is the B2 value. So moment at the section, let's say this section is XX. So moment at the section XX will be denoted by UDL, that is, let's say that is denoted by W into B2 length over which it is being distributed into B2 by 2, that is the half of the distance. So from here, this will be equal to R divided by B1 into B2 square divided by 2. That is the moment at the section XX. Now we need to equate this value with the moment capacity of the angle. So the moment capacity for the angle leg, since it is an I section, now we need to equate this value, this moment at the section XX, to the moment capacity of the angle leg. And for this we use the denotation, and for this we use the notation as MD, and that is given by 1.2 times of Fy into ZE, that is the elastic section modulus, divided by gamma m naught, that is the partial factor of safety. Now from here we will equate these two values and compare that whether the moment capacity is more or the moment at the section is more. If the design capacity is more than the moment which is coming onto the section because of the bearings that we have provided, that means we need to revise the section and we need to increase the thickness of the section, so that the moment which is coming onto the section because of the thickness of the angle, that can be increased. And once it reaches the value of the design moment, then we can fix our thicknesses for the angle section. Now in the next step we will calculate the shear capacity of the leg. So in the sixth number step, the shear capacity of the angle section is calculated. So the shear capacity is denoted by VD, that is the design capacity in shear, that will be equal to the area. So area will be equal to the width of the section, that is B, that is the length of the angle section, into thickness of the angle section, into the stress. So that was Fy. Since we are designing here, so we take the certain factor by reducing it, so that is taken equal to √3, and since we are dealing with the limit state method, so divided, since we are here dealing with the limit state method, so dividing it by the partial factor of safety, that is gamma m naught, of which the value is 1.1 naught. And in the next step or the last step, we will calculate the number of bolts. So the number of bolts that has to be taken care of. So the number of bolts that are to be provided between the connection, so that is calculated based upon the end reaction, that was denoted by R, divided by the bolt strength, or in short that is known as the bolt value. That is the value of the bolt that can be carried either in shear or bearing, whichever is lesser. Based upon that, we will calculate the number of bolts, and those number of bolts are to be provided in suitable number of rows of the bolts. And after this, a nominal size of the angle, that means there will not be serving any purpose for the transfer of the load. So a nominal size of the angle is to be provided, because nominal means that it will not be transferring any kind of load. The only purpose is to maintain the lateral stability that is provided at the top of the flange of the beam. And when we are providing this nominal size angle at the top of the flange of the beam, the connection between the nominal cleat angle with the beam and the column is to be maintained as in the same manner that has been provided in the case of the seat angle, so that the number of bolts and the diameter of the bolts that has been provided at the top of the connection and as well as at the bottom of the connection, that can be maintained simultaneously, and the symmetry of the section is maintained. So there will not be any eccentricity for the load transfer. Now in the next video we will be discussing about the stiffened seated connection and what is the design procedure for that. Thank you.